Hello, this video is about repairing holes in knitted shoes. I'm using embroidery cotton thread, a curved needle, mostly used for furnishing, but I was able to easily find one in a craft store in Japan. The first thing you need to do is cut your thread about an arm's length, thread it through the needle, and tie a tiny knot. The reason I say tiny is because the person wearing the shoe might feel the knot underneath. So make it as small as possible and then come in from the inside out as to hide the knot. And then what I do in a rough area over the hole, not right against the hole, but around it, I just sew a bunch of lines up and down around it, kind of like stitches. And I'm also got a thimble occasionally because although it's knitted and very easy to sew through, at certain parts there's a kind of coating they've put over the knit, so it's a little bit difficult. So I use the thimble to kind of help push that through and pull lots and lots and lots. This could be done with other embroidery techniques like making little flowers or daisy knots or whatever they're called, French knots, I don't know, I forgot. But you could use an array of embroidery stitches, but I just thought for this it kind of has a stripy line pattern anyway, so I'll just do that and then see what happens. I think it ended up looking pretty nice. As you can see, I had already previously repaired these with just basic sewing machine thread, and it was fine for a little while, but eventually it just came undone and there were even bigger holes. So I was requested to repair these shoes again. As usual, there are a number of ways that these holes in knitted shoes could be repaired other than embroidery. It could have been patched or glued, which would probably look really ugly to be honest, but it's kind of up to you what you decide. But I just thought this would be the best. In the future, as there will be more holes, I'm sure, I might try doing a patch, but by upcycling the Nike swoosh, or whatever it's called, from another pair of shoes, or I actually have a red one from a skirt. No, actually it's orange, which is perfect. So I might upcycle that and kind of use their logo to kind of rebel against them. Ha ha ha. We don't need new shoes, we're just gonna fix them. Take that, Nike. So this has made it really easy to repair. It does take a little bit of time because of this coating they've got on it sometimes, but other knitted shoes might be a little bit easier, especially if they don't have a coating, so it's really no excuse. Like, it's a pretty basic repair just to give a little bit longer life to these shoes. Like, the sole has no problem, it's just they're knitted, so if you scratch it up too hard, of course there's gonna be a hole in it. It just breaks apart really easily. My husband literally didn't wear these shoes for like at least a month or two while the new holes sprung up since the last repair, so he's worn them a lot more now, which I'm pretty happy about. I personally wear holey shoes a bit longer than I should probably. So when I finish with one, I tie a small knot. Now this knot is on the outside. It's pretty impossible for me to do it from the inside because my head can't get in there to see. So what I did is I tied a tiny knot and made sure it was pushed right down against the fabric, and then I used the curved needle to swoop underneath the other stitches, and I did that a couple of times, but you know, it's pretty invisible as possible. You could like just go around and around and around again in the same spot rather than tying a knot, but I just thought that might get bulky, so I just did a tiny knot and then hid some excess thread around, and then I trimmed the thread. By the way, shout out to my friends who let me film their arms at the cafe. Yes, I was multitasking. Another thing I want to help people realize or teach people is that we also need to kind of reclaim our time a bit, like whether that means repairing on the train or repairing while we're having good conversation with our friends or on an airplane, waiting in a queue, waiting for someone to get home for dinner, like whatever time you can, whether it's waiting or spending time with other people. Even you can repair in groups too. I've done a lot of workshops with other people, and it's just about, I guess, being productive, but also, I don't know, sharing that with other people too. Like, hey, yeah, I do repair my stuff because I care about it and I want it to last longer and have an extended life. Like, it's still a good thing. I want people to know that. Towards the end here, I've got a bit of close-up detail for you. I'm not sure if that helps necessarily, but enjoy the close-up. And finally, the reveal in Nara. While we were walking around, I caught him in the wild, and I hope he doesn't mind, at Spotcha! Testing them out, doing those hardcore sports. Like, awesome. Good job, guy. And hey, friends, hope you don't mind.